I call Mahesh Bindra.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, I would like to highlight the lack of taxpayer funding being allocated to one of the most important sectors of our law and order machinery and the most important of our public services, which is corrections. Mr. Chair, we need prisons to be safe for staff and prisoners both, and we need them to function in a way that they deliver the services that they are being paid for. At the moment, it's not happening, Mr. Chair. Serco has been given the contract for some years now to run the old Mount Eden Corrections facility. And Serco was branded by the minister as being the most successful and the highest performing prisons in the country. Well, that, Mr. Chair, is not a fact because time and again, Serco have proved that they are not up to the game. There were the infamous fight clubs. There have been extortion calls going out to the community members. There have been drug taking and homebrew being used by those prisoners in Serco. And the reason for that is that Serco do not maintain the same staff to prisoner ratio, Mr. Chair, as corrections have. And they do get away with it. With the $30 million odd that they get every year, Mr. Chair, their aim is to save maximum and send it overseas as profits, because that's what they are, a profit-making corporate. They do not have the safety and the security of prisoners and officers in their mind. What they have in mind is their profits. And they have been able to achieve that. But what we have not been able to achieve is getting the service that we pay for. The taxpayer is not getting their money's worth from Serco, and that has been proved beyond doubt, Mr. Chair. Starting with the fight clubs, the extortion calls, which have been going out to the community, the use of the banned cell phones inside the prison, and other prisoners, the weaker prisoners being stood over, as they call it, and the weaker prisoners being thrown off balconies, them being injured, and then transferred to other corrections-run prisons, just to cover that up. So there's a real danger to the safety of prisoners and staff, Mr. Chair. Now, after the Serco fiasco, corrections have posted 20 staff from corrections to assist with the management of Serco-run, or rather Serco mismanaged Mount Eden Corrections facility. So those 20 staff actually fill in for the shortage of staff that Serco has been making money on. So now our question is, what will happen after the dust has settled? Will they be called back to corrections prisons? And if that happens, what will happen to the staff to prisoner ratio in Serco again? So that is the question we need to get answers for, Mr. Speaker. Serco-run prisons do not have the rehabilitation programs that corrections-run prisons do have. They cut funding on that also, just to make profits. So, Mr. Chair, it's a shambles at the moment. We got prisoners absconding to Brazil. We got offenders killing women while on electronic monitoring, and we got them cutting off bracelets so they have some free time out on the outside. So that's really concerning, Mr. Chair. We can't have it. And we can't have prisoners organizing fight clubs, bullying prisoners, or injuring prisoners, and even killing them. We just can't have it. And this minister is letting this slip by on his watch. So why are we even thinking of funding such a private-public partnership? Serco has proved time and again that they are not capable of running a prison like Mount Eden Corrections facility, and yet they are being rewarded, which is a double whammy. They do not deliver, and yet they get rewarded. Now, recently, the corrections CEO declared that he is going to fine them $500,000. Well, that actually is not a fine, Mr. Chair. That will be deducted from their bonus that they would have otherwise got had they performed to standards, and clearly they're not. So, Mr. Chair, what we suggest is that instead of putting our own staff at risk, our own people at risk, the prisoners at risk, we should withdraw Serco's contract
The
altogether.
Honourable
Chair.
Procedure Sam Lutuinga.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. To